investors quite envisioned the changes that are taking place to be the kind of changes that they anticipated. And so they didn't happen. Worse things did. Higher taxes, particularly if they put taxes on share transactions, which they've talked about as well, is not very good for Wall Street. The earnings are going to probably come in on the S&P 500 about $28, and that would reflect into the Dow Jones Industrial selling around 6,000. So I'm looking at 6,000 to 6,600, somewhere down in there. And the market has no real strength. Every time it tries to put a rally on, it's cut short. The same thing happened again today, and it's in progress. As far as the gold is concerned, we've had a very quick correction this week. It swung down through the 930 area, which was about a $70 adjustment over 4 days. And actually, for you people who haven't been in the market for years like I have, when you have adjustments like that and they're quick like that, they're very, very good. Now, I know an adjustment isn't good, but if you're going to have one, that's the best kind to have when it happens quick. And it happened quick. The question is this the bottom? It could be 900. It could be here. Don't know for sure. And it'll turn around and go right back up again and test 1,000. I think should happen immediately or fairly quickly. If it doesn't, it'll certainly happen by the fall. And so gold is going to break out. And the insiders know that. They're just trying to delay it as long as possible, just like they are trying to delay what's going on in the markets and in the economy and in finance. And those figures they came up with this morning about GDP falling in the fourth quarter, what was it, 6.3%? The figures are even worse than that. I mean, you know that they never tell the truth.
Yeah, they're saying biggest drop in 26 years.
Yes, that's correct. And that's going to continue and it's going to get worse. Now, the feed-in of the monies that are coming from the stimulus package are not really going to make a great deal of difference this year. It'll help a little. And that's going to cause depending upon whose ratings you look at, on Mr. Obama, one of them 64, the other's 54. He's going to be down by September, October, around 40 to 35, because people are going to realize that this program is just not going to work that well.
Do you see them staging a terror attack around that time to try to rally support around the Messianic leader? I mean, I don't see them getting their agenda through without them staging a terror attack, releasing a bioweapon to pose as saviors, or launching a new war.
Well, it's certainly very possible. The problem is the timing is so difficult because 35 or 40 as a approval rating really isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. And I don't know that they would create a false flag operation based upon that. The most of the money that's in that package is going to be coming out next year. So next year could be a holding hiatus point and maybe a little bit better than this year. And the reason for that, the reason I packed it that way, is because there's a congressional election next year, and all these people who are Democrats want to get reelected. So, this is why people think things are going to happen quickly. And there's so many things you have to factor into this thing, and these people have the ability, through Congress, to do stimulus packages. In fact, I think they'll have another one next January, probably for $2 trillion.
Well, Obama's already saying another banker bailout, which will be the one that sets up the new global New Deal, the new global bank. Oh, it's going to help you globally with U.S. taxpayer money. Bob, a few weeks ago, you said you were revising your forecast a bit from complete depression within 2.5 years to a year and a half. Are you like revising back to a more long-term till we're in a Mad Max scenario, or what are you getting at?
Well, we have depression already started, and we're having a slight hiatus in inflation in the United States is running around 9%. M3 is running around 11.5 to 12%, down from where it was before. But as the TARP funds and other funds from stimulus hit the market, and the responsibility of Treasury to raise $2 trillion, which they'll have to monetize, that's going to begin hitting probably in April, maybe May, maybe March, and that's going to very quickly push inflation up. And that will extend. Inflation extends the end line for deflation. And so that's why you can't easily predict what's going on. But we're going to have an inflationary depression for a time. 2 years, maybe 3, maybe a year and a half. I don't know yet. But
all right, let's stop right there. Let's talk about the credit card bubble, the college bubble, people that have paid for these $100,000 college educations. They're getting out every year. They can't find jobs. They're accelerating offshoring of U.S. jobs, accelerating bringing in the skilled visas to replace jobs. Everybody I know in Austin that worked at IBM, degreed engineers, and I know 4 people, have all lost their jobs completely. They had to train their end-to-end replacements who were working for a third of it, and now they're gone. They're on the streets. You have all these state pension funds on the verge of bankruptcy or going into bankruptcy. You have all these unfunded mandates where they give you 20-30% of the money in the federal bailout, and then the state's going to come up with 70% more. A restaurant I hadn't been to in about a year that every time I went to it in the past was jam-packed and full on a Thursday night. There were one other group of people in there eating dinner. Restaurants, that have always been, really busy are, and Austin supposedly a good economy. I mean, this is already bad, what we're under. I mean, how bad are you saying it's going to get?
Oh, over 30% unemployment. Incidentally, IBM just is in the process of building a major complex south of Guadalajara in Mexico. And they intend to move everything out of the United States. And that's why the only answer to this problem of free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing, very simply, is tariffs. And if America does not have tariffs, we'll end up with 40 or 50% unemployment.
And for those that don't know,
there's no way we can compete.
And for those that don't know, China has a built-in tariff with their low currency and no environmental standards and slave wages. That is basically, in its overall economic effect, a huge tariff. So when we hear free trade, this is not free or fair trade, is it, Bob?
It certainly isn't. And it is just absolutely propaganda that's been misrepresented. And I'm sadly the only newsletter writer I know of who's talking outside the box, who pushes this so hard. The rest of them just don't get it.
Now, you got to watch them, though, Bob. They'll pass a tariff the day they finally tank the stock market down to nothing and say the tariff did it. You know the tricks they play.
Yep, that's what they did in the early 30s, and the depression was caused in that period of time by the Fed withdrawing money from the system. And then when they turned around and put it back into the system, it wouldn't do any good. And that's exactly what's happening today. And, they know that that's the way it works. So it was deliberate, just like it is now.
Well, Bob...
And that's why you're hearing what you just mentioned, Alex, about, we need a world government, we need a world currency, we need a world this, that, and the other thing. That's the justification for that.
Yeah, it's a perfect plan. They globally create the crisis and say we need a global solution to a global crisis, and then the very people that engineered this by design, they will then be our saviors. I mean, it seems to me all we've got to do is tell the truth and get the story out of how this is a pack of criminals, larcenous criminals that destroyed our economy by design to build their new world order, and that we should take the states back, take the federal government back, and arrest all these criminals. I mean, we can do that if we just start believing we can and get the word out about it.
Amen. Boy, I'll tell you, that's why I'm on here, and that's why I'm on 20 programs a week, and I keep it up just like you do. And believe me, Alex, we are making inroads. I'm getting letters all the time, not only from Americans who are subscribers, but people all over the world.
Well, you got powerful info, Bob. You're on target, and that's what matters. That's why it's great to have you here. We're going to come back, get into your phone calls, your questions for Bob Chapman or myself or your statements when we come back. 1-800-259-9231. Stay with us.
Do you have trouble sleeping due to sensations in your legs? You are not alone. Millions of Americans suffer from restless legs. Restless legs is a condition caused by the uncontrollable urge to move your legs. Signs include itching, pulling, tugging, and the feeling that bugs are crawling on your legs. If having restless legs is preventing you from getting the good night's sleep you deserve or is preventing you from enjoying life, you need Restulex. Restulex is an all-natural supplement that contains 74